Let's get into it, Michael Cohen. Donald Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche, sent a lengthy letter to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, rambling and attacking
You didn't say welcome to Political Beatdown.
Oh, we're getting there. I'm just teasing what we're talking about. So that was a letter that was sent attacking you, Michael Cohen. I want to get your response. Also, Donald Trump has still been unable to post surety bonds in either the E. Jean Carroll case or the New York Attorney General civil fraud case, and time is just about running out. Donald Trump's lawyer, Alina Habba, has requested that the federal judge who Donald Trump and she continue to attack over and over again, Judge Kaplan, in the E. Jean Carroll case, actually declare that Trump was the winner of the case and overturn the $83.3 million verdict just because, I guess. And Donald Trump gave multiple incoherent and cognitively impaired speeches over the weekend that I'll get your reaction to, Michael Cohen. And of course, today, as we're recording this, it's Super Tuesday, and we'll see if the data tracks what we've been seeing throughout primary season, where Donald Trump's been underperforming, where there have been a lot of Republicans, mainstream Republicans, saying that they're not going to be supporting Donald Trump ever. But we'll be tracking that later in the day, and we'll see if we get any exit polls while we were live. If not, of course, we're going to have coverage here on the Midas Touch Network. Welcome to Political Beatdown. You see, Cohen, that's where I say, Cohen.
There's just too much to fill in just a period of an hour, and it's Super Tuesday because I get to hang out with you, Ben, and all our brigaders. That makes it a Super Tuesday.
That makes every Tuesday super in my book, but it's not a Tuesday, Michael Cohen, if you're not getting attacked by one of Donald Trump's lawyers in various cases. Here, Todd Blanche sent a 11-page letter to District Attorney Alvin Bragg. And as I was reading this letter that just attacks you for 11 pages, like I'm trying to understand, like what's the point of this? And then finally you get to the end. I'm like, are you making a motion to the court? Are you requesting something, or are you just whining? So I read it. I'm okay. Seems like you're just whining. Okay. Seems like you're just whining. And then you get to the end of it and it's like, as a result of the foregoing, we will be making this public. And then Donald Trump just posted on his social media platform. And I'm like, what? And here's the thing, Cohen. They attack you and they attack the Manhattan District Attorney's Office for relying on what Justice Arthur Engoron said about you in the New York Attorney General civil fraud proceeding, where he said Michael Cohen is telling the truth. So if you go to page 2 of this letter, this is what they're attacking the Manhattan District Attorney's Office for doing. It says, your office warmly embraced Cohen and doubled down on this position in the February 29, 2024 opposition to Trump's motion in limine. In that filing, the district attorney's office also endorsed the ridiculous February 16, 2024 findings by Justice Arthur Engoron that Cohen told the truth and was credible at the People by V. James versus Trump trial. Justice Engoron's findings as to Cohen's purported credibility were made despite perjury by Cohen that is more central to these proceedings than the sham trial Justice Engoron himself facilitated.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you, Ben. I mean, those are really strong words to be throwing, at a judge. I do have to say that I very much appreciated having the opportunity to read the People's opposition that was filed, and the way that they started off in an argument that reads more like a press release than a legal filing. Defendant makes the obviously unsupportable request that the court preclude one of the people's witnesses from testifying at trial. And here's this: on the ground that defendant anticipates that he will disbelieve the witness's expected testimony. The court should reject this unprecedented argument. I mean, what a thing for somebody like Donald Trump to turn around and say that they're not going to believe my testimony. But then the second paragraph, I really think that they sort of capture the essence of what's going on here. Justice Arthur F. Engoron sitting as the finder in fact in the New York Attorney General's civil fraud trial against defendant, expressly found after trial that Michael Cohen told the truth, and that, a quote again, the court found his testimony credible. Judge Engoron's finding that Cohen was credible and told the truth on the stand rebuts defendant's repeated assertion that Cohen instead committed perjury at the trial. And it is misleading for defendant to argue otherwise without even advising the court that Justice Engoron found Cohen's testimony credible and truthful. I mean, I'm not really sure I fully understand what Trump's counsel are trying to do here. I mean, look, again, it's very hard to understand when you know their entire MO right now is all predicated on delay. Figure out what they can do to muck up these waters, to turn around and to figure out how they're going to fuck around with this case to try to get another appeal, see if they can slow it down, because this happens to be the one case that will be tried and there will be a determination before the November election, or before, we'll call it the 90 days before the election that people call the blackout period. So,
Cohen, it's 3 weeks away. Donald Trump will be there as a criminal defendant in a felony case. That trial is happening 3 weeks away.
can I tell you that I'm not thrilled about the whole thing? You know, I've made it kind of well known that I wish that I was not testifying in this case. You know, it's a lot on one person. Let's not forget, I've testified before the Mueller team, 7 congressional committees, the grand jury for the district attorney's case, the Manhattan, the New York Attorney General's case, and now to sit for X number of days as a witness again in this Manhattan DA case. It's a lot. You know, it's a lot for one person. And every single time that something gets said, you get letters like this, you get motions like this, you get requests to the DA's office to file perjury charges against me on claiming it's the same grounds as the perjury charge that Alan Weisselberg just pled guilty to, that they should be charging me as well. I mean, it's a lot for one person to go through. And I wish that I wasn't subpoenaed. Yeah.
It's why this show, though, is to get your perspective here, not in the soundbite way, when you go on a CNN or an MSNBC. And trust me, I'm sure you'd love to talk longer, but the formats of those shows are short. So you only have, 90 seconds to get out a point, sometimes, 2 or 3 minutes, but they're short. What I love about this show is that people really get to see behind the scenes that, look, you're human. Yes, there is this kind of larger than life persona of who Michael Cohen is, but when you and I talk, you're a vulnerable person in the sense of you've got feelings, you've got emotions, you've got a family, you've got stress, you've got a ton of documents. When people give you death threats and attack you, that has an impact. And you're not an avatar of Michael Cohen or a Michael Cohen emoji, even though we have great emojis here of you. You are a real person who experienced these emotions, and you're so candid about sharing just how you feel. And I think any of us going through what you're going through, it'd be tough to even get through it. So the fact that you're
let's
there,
not forget, but Ben, let's also not forget that his attorneys are only concerned right now with figuring out how to delay and muck up this case. And
Yeah.
one way that they think that they're going to do it is to constantly disparage me, constantly attack me. I think that Todd Blanche's letter it's not just defamatory, but it's absolutely salacious and insulting, to say the least. I think it's improper, and it's, like I said, it's incredibly difficult. I have counsel that is reviewing a whole slew. There's thousands and thousands of documents that I am going through just to reacquaint myself. And the truth is, it goes by, that goes by quickly, because here's the interesting thing. I have been saying the same thing since literally 2018. So when your story remains the same because it is the truth, therefore it is easy for me to go ahead and to continue to tell the same story, to tell the truth. And I couldn't be more thankful, Ben and Brigaders. The fact that Engoron wrote this 92-page decision in the manner and the way that he did. He wrote it, especially page 43, that deals with me, where he finishes it off, explains the distinction between things that I said and the actions at that time of Alina Habba, Chris Kais, and Cliff Robert, his D team, at least maybe Necklace and Todd Blanche. Maybe that's the C team, right? Or maybe the D plus. But, certainly the Habba team, I mean, that's a D minus at best. Screaming and yelling, perjury, perjury, perjury. In fact, the only person or persons that Engoron said were not credible was Donald von Schitzenpants, Donald the defendant, Don Jr., Eric, Ivanka, Weisselberg, McConney, and their $1.8 million,
Yep.
witness, their paid for witness, that the testimony was just not, it just wasn't credible. So I could not be more thankful for him in the manner to which he wrote that decision.
Cohen, if Trump's lawyers thought you were a liar and that you would be a terrible witness for the Manhattan District Attorney's case in chief,
Yep.
they'd be begging to call you as a witness, not trying to exclude you from a witness if they thought that was going to help them. But they don't want you to testify. They don't want Stormy Daniels to testify. They don't want Karen McDougal to testify. They don't want Dino Sajudin to testify. They don't want Donald Trump's own words, posts, statements, and videos and books to come in. They say these are just ghost written books. They're not written by Donald Trump. These aren't his words. They don't want his own words coming in. So what you have to do is look at the person's conduct outside of court, but then look at their words inside of court. That's what's often very revealing. And it's very revealing that they want to totally exclude you and all of the other relevant witnesses from this case. You mentioned Alan Weisselberg. I want to talk about that now because he has pled guilty to felony counts of perjury in connection with his statements in the New York Attorney General civil fraud case. He was previously convicted of tax fraud related crimes. He served time in Rikers Island. When was it? About February 1st, Justice Arthur Engoron raised the issue to Trump's lawyers, Alina Habba, who also represent Weisselberg and Cliff Robert, and said, hey, there's some news reporting about this potential perjury that took place in my courtroom. And Goron said, I don't want my courtroom to be a crime scene. As officers of the court, you have a duty of candor under rule of professional responsibility 3.3 A sub 3, I believe it is, to not suborn perjury. So if you are aware, I'm putting you on notice right now. Let me know if Weisselberg committed perjury. You, as his lawyer, have that duty. Alina Habba and Cliff Robert responded by attacking Justice Arthur Engoron for raising that question. First, I want to get your reaction, Michael Cohen, to Weisselberg pleading guilty. Then I want to move on to your reaction to the fact that Alina Habba and Cliff Robert we'll have to see what happens. They may be in deep trouble there because actual knowledge can be inferred based on circumstances. And when a judge puts you on notice of a potential crime in the courtroom that your client committed, there is a duty of candor there. So there could be serious ramifications. But let's get first your reaction to Weisselberg.
So it's an interesting scenario because you may remember, and I certainly welcome each and every one of you to Google the following: Weisselberg lied to the Southern District, SDNY, regarding Michael Cohen. And you'll find there's a whole slew of them, but the best one is the one that was written by Kara Scannell, CNN, and Orden, I forget her first name. But the article reads that the SDNY knew that Weisselberg had lied to them when they were investigating me. They knew he lied to them. They nevertheless used that lie in order to get the indictment. And on top of that, they gave Alan Weisselberg limited immunity in that case. The part that I find most offensive is not the limited immunity, right? Would be nice if they'd offered that to me. But the part that I find the most offensive is that they knew he was lying and they used that information anyway to put him before a grand jury to get the indictment against me. And I just find that to be so fucking dirty. And I just find it so reprehensible, just absolutely reprehensible that they would do something like that. So the fact that Weisselberg is now shouldn't be the second time. It really should be the third time that he's pleading guilty to perjury. But okay, second time. He is now a habitual offender. He's what's called a repeat offender. And I'm again stunned at the fact that the judges are taking his age into consideration as it relates to this perjury charge. The issues that he lied under oath for were exactly the issues that were the basis of the trial. And he lied to the court while on the stand about issues that are material to the trial that was at hand, and how he's getting, 5 months. So 5 months with good time, blah, blah, blah. What is he going to do again? That's 150 days. So they'll give him this time 120 days. Come on. I did 13 fucking plus months with 51 days of solitary confinement because Donald von Schitzenpants couldn't keep his mushroom dick in his pants. Not once, but twice. This does not make sense to me. This is the unequal system of justice that's there. I don't believe that the crime that he committed fits the penalty. I truly don't. I think if you really want to express to all of the witnesses that will be called by the defendant, whether it's his own children again, whether it's going to be some expert witness, whoever it might be, do not lie on the stand to the judge. Tell the truth. Be credible, plain and simple. And if you don't, we're going to throw the book at you. It's not right that if it was Ben, for example, you, because of your age, that they would turn around and hit you with a 5 to 7 year possible incarceration. And this fucknut gets 5 months. No, I don't give a shit. By the way, when I was in Otisville, hey, Ben, how old do you think the oldest guy at Otisville was when I was there? And there were technically 2 guys of the same age.
I'm going to go 82.
81. 80 and 81. And they were there for a long time. I mean, they had some real a real prison sentence. Why should he get off with 5 months? Why? It just doesn't. If it was you would get they'd be charging you between 5 to 7 years, and then you roll in the dice with the judge on sentencing. I don't like it. I really don't.
I want to get your reaction also to, do you think Alina Habba and Cliff Robert, Trump's lawyers, who did not respond to Justice Arthur Engoron in any forthcoming matter when it came to their knowledge or notice about Weisselberg's potential plea negotiations, and they actually attacked Justice Arthur Engoron? I want to get your take on it, but let's take our first quick break of the show.
I tried so many different things to maintain a heart-healthy lifestyle, like crash course diets and starting daunting cardio routine, and frankly, it just hasn't been helpful for me. Now, we often think living a more heart-healthy life means making big, unsustainable changes. But with Superbeats, and you all know how much I love Superbeats. I talk about it all the time. With Superbeat heart chews, and you all know how much I love my Superbeat heart chews, you can get daily blood pressure support in just 2 tasty chews a day. And they even promote heart-healthy energy without the stimulants. Paired with a healthy lifestyle, the antioxidants in Superbeats are clinically shown to be nearly 2 times more effective at promoting normal blood pressure than a healthy lifestyle alone. And trust me, I need normal blood pressure. Heart health is important for me because I want to be around as long as possible for my loved ones. Superbeat Heart Chew give me the peace of mind that I'm doing the right thing and doing something good for myself every day. I take Superbeat Heart Chews every morning, and after taking them, I feel like I have more energy to take on the day. Superbeats Heart Chews are a convenient way to support healthy blood pressure. No pills to swallow, no ingredients to mix and prepare. It's plant-based and no artificial sweeteners or colors. I cannot recommend Superbeat Heart Chews enough for our listeners. Again, I love them. So double your potential with Superbeats Heart Chews and get a free month supply of Superbeats Heart Chews on all bundles. And get a load of this, a free full-size bag of turmeric chews valued at $25 with your order by going to beatdownbeats.com. That's BeatDownBeets.com. Get this exclusive offer only at beatdownbeats.com and have yours today.
Ben Meiselas here. Did you know that your temperature at night can have one of the greatest impacts on your sleep quality? If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Inspired by NASA, Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Using silver-infused fabrics originally inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, so you get better sleep every night. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. And get this, Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than bed sheets used by some 5-star hotels. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. Go to trymiracle.com/beat to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo BEAT At checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/beat and use the code BEAT to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40%. Again, that's trymiracle.com/beat to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode.
For real, thank you to our pro-democracy sponsors.
How about we have one of our brigaders, Lynn Steinberg, turns around and she goes, she hears in her sleep, in her dreams, my ad reads. I'm so sorry about that. That is so funny.
I was going to say your more recent ad reads a little more zen, a little more, some of the other ones are very intense, but you love the product.
My super beats and I had my blood pressure under control.
It's actually a great point right there. Cohen, when we took that commercial break, I said that I was going to ask you, though, about Alina Habba and Cliff Robert. I know Habba at least represents Weisselberg. She's Weisselberg's
well, let's not forget
lawyer.
Chris Kais. We got to put him into that mix, too. He was there. He was part of that 3-person team where Weisselberg was lying.
Although he was smart enough not to send that letter back. He was like, Habba, you send it back. Kais, in a way, it's a great point that you raised, though, because you see the different level in lawyering there. Kais allowed Habba to send the letter back to Justice Engoron, basically saying that she doesn't know anything about it, and then attacking Justice Engoron. And then Engoron's basically was like, look, in a response email, all I wanted to know is if you had knowledge, because under New York's rules of professional responsibility, you have an obligation to tell me. I get you don't want to tell me, but if I later learn, we'll see what happens if he's committed perjury in my courtroom. What do you make of that, though? And again, Habba, though, there's one thing to be the lawyer, but Habba's becoming the lawyer and the client.
Yeah, look, but Donald has the ability to get lawyers to do things that they shouldn't do. This letter, the motion in limine or the follow-up letter by Todd Blanche should not have been written. I think I find it offensive, and I think it's an improper letter. Trump clearly wanted him to do it. We also know in the past, Trump had gotten a lawyer, I forget her name, but threw her under the bus too, and had her sign an affidavit that there were no more documents at Mar-a-Lago after a extensive search, which we all know again was untrue. But Christina they got Bob, her right? to sign. What's that?
Christina Bob.
Christina Bob. That's right. They got her to sign the letter and send it into government. So everybody washes their hands nice and clean, right? And they throw the other asshole under the bus. That's exactly what's happening here. I mean, Habba will ultimately face consequences because they knew the lie. And if they didn't know the lie, they would never be writing and saying the things that they say about me. It is all brigaders. Let me be clear about something. And this is not something I have not said a million times already, that they deflect. When Donald Trump calls somebody a liar, he is deflecting because he is lying. When he calls them sleepy or he calls them stupid, it's because he knows he is sleepy or he is stupid. Everything that he does is a deflection. And it's just, all you need to do is just to check to see what's going on there. Who is he talking about? And then you'll understand exactly why he's saying the things that he's saying. It's just pure deflection. And we all know it already.
It's a good transition to the next thing I want to chat with you about and show our brigaders, which was the various speeches, if you even want to call it that, over the weekend by Donald Trump. And as we talk about it, like, Donald Trump's not really even speaking in sentences anymore. He's talking in garbled words and kind of just like noises. It's really odd. And when he does put some words together, it's usually praising the January 6th insurrectionists and calling them hostages, or praising Vladimir Putin, yet you have legacy media bending over backwards to try to twist his words and make it sound normal when it's not normal. And I referred to that as the legacy media just kind of gaslighting us over and over again and working hard to try to normalize things that are not normal. I want to show you two clips right now, Michael Cohen. The first is what Donald Trump does at every speech. So he's taken the national anthem and he's changed the lyrics to the national anthem and put in place the January 6th insurrectionists who he calls the hostages. So rather than playing the national anthem, Donald Trump plays what he calls the spirit of the J6 hostages, and that is what leads his events. To me, the fact that you don't see the New York Times talking about it, you don't see any news channels talking about it, and you have to come to the Midas Touch Network, which fortunately is growing bigger than those other networks. The fact that that exists is so outrageous to me. So this is Donald Trump speaking in Greensboro, North Carolina, and here he is, like he does in all of his speeches, talking about the spirit, the song that he made with the insurrectionists that he replaced our national anthem with. Play the clip.
They've done to people. You heard the hostages singing. That was hostages. They're the J6 hostages, I call them, because they are hostages. They're policemen, they're firemen, they're accountants. They're lawyers in some cases. They're put in jail for extended periods of time, for very long periods of time. They're hostages. You heard them singing. You heard the spirit that they had? The spirit is unbelievable. That song became the #1 song.
So Michael Cohen, I mean, that in and of itself, period, full stop, end of story. If any Democratic candidate said that, not only would I not support them, I would make it part of my life's mission to make sure they never got elected ever or held positions of power. That is so horrible, so horrific, so anti-American. And then he combines that with this. This is Donald Trump short-circuiting, as he did multiple times at his speeches, but here he is short-circuiting again. Just watch this.
Heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your...
You know, and just do that one more, Salty. Do it one more time.
I think he was taking his shit in his pants.
Heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your...
So what do you think was happening there, Cohen?
I think he was actually dropping a deuce in Donald von Schitzenpants. There's no doubt in my mind. I think he may have been a little constipated and finally let it go. You know, it doesn't make any sense. But, you know, you remember I was just saying a second ago about deflection. I know it's gross, and thinking about him sitting there talking in front of a crowd, dropping the deuce in his diapers. I don't know why I bring this up. When he turns around, he talks about Joe Biden being old. Joe Biden stumbling over his words. I'm going to go back to the word that I used a few moments ago. Deflection. Let's just play that one more time, Salty. One more time, just so you understand. This is not what we need from a leader, right? And the fact that Joe Biden will turn around and speak slowly, or he speaks low, or whatever it might be. Not like this. I mean, this is a whole nother level of fucked up.
Heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your...
But then, Cohen, let me show you this too, because this is like the whole speech is like, it's not just one moment that we're isolating. Like here he is short-circuiting again, trying to say the word Venezuela. Here, play this clip.
Did you just see Maduro, Venezuela? It's unbelievable.
And that's
I know. What is he talking about? I mean, and then he goes into, he knows that he fucked up the words. So to make it seem, you know, and this is an issue that people who are going through cognitive dysfunction, that they try to hide their fuck ups. And I remember seeing it many, many, many times a long time ago with my grandmother. Of course, she was in her 90s when it happened. But what they do is they try to cover up because they know that something is going wrong. And then they immediately become Yeah, oh, yeah. That's what I was trying to say. And it's sad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not making fun of cognitive failure, of dementia. I am not, but at the same point in time, do we really want somebody sitting in the Oval Office, somebody with their finger on the nuclear football? Who cares if you're finished? Or who turns around and, is incontinent in his, during the middle of a speech? No. Maybe, you know what, Ben? I think maybe he needs super beats. I was thinking.
I mean,
And maybe he needs a good little miracle sleep or something like that. I don't know what the guy needs, but it is all about deflection.
and here he is too, and like when he's even attacking immigrants now, like even the way he goes about attacking it, which is horrific that he does that, he doesn't make sense. He talks about pupils from countries, and they're
He
bringing
was
language.
standing at
They're
the
bringing
border.
language.
Ben, he was standing at the border waving to migrants on the other side. It's the same people that demented Donald turned around and said that if they cross over illegally, we should have the right to shoot them. And he's sitting there and he's waving to them. I mean, this is just not, there's nothing here that's normal. Zero.
Watch this one. This is where he talks about the pupils invading the pupils. Play this clip.
And they're going to destroy all of that. And you see what's going on in New York? They have pupils from foreign countries, from countries where they don't even know what the language is. We have nobody that even teaches it. These are languages that nobody ever heard of.
Yeah, like, what does it even mean? And then he talks about Jackson.
They have students. I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know. So here's what he says about Special Counsel Jack Smith, though. And again, this is what we see. The reality is in people who are very cognitively impaired because they can't find the word that they're trying to use. So he's trying to attack Special Counsel Jack Smith, and the only word that comes to mind is stinks. And again, the projection there is strong. And Donald Trump goes about Special Counsel Jack Smith. This is during a speech. This is at a rally. This is like a stump speech. He goes, he stinks. Special Counsel Jack Smith. He's stinky. Here, play this clip.
He's a man. He's just a terrible human being. But he's a deranged person who wants to hurt people. And we're hurting him. I'll tell you, we're hurting him. He stinks. That's not the kind of people. Being a prosecutor is a very important thing. Being a fair and good prosecutor is a very important thing. But some of these animals, I mean, they are bad.
And then he goes into some of these animals.
By the way, can I stop for a second? Can I stop you? I agree with him on that statement. Being a prosecutor is an incredibly important thing. Being a fair prosecutor is extremely important. The goal of a prosecutor is not to convict. It's to prosecute. But too many of them have seen right now the need in order to convict, because the more that they convict, the higher their conviction ratio is, the better jobs that they end up with at these white shoe firms, making 7 figures a year. That's the progression. They leave these offices and they end up going to these big white shoe firms, the Lowenstein Sandler, the Davis Polk, the McDermott Will and Emery's, the Boyce firm, there's a whole slew of them. And I know it because 7 or 8 of the prosecutors that allegedly worked on my case, that's where they all went.
Yeah, I want to show you this one as well, Cohen, where, he continues to confuse Obama with President Biden. And then he says he does that on purpose. And he does it in the context also about talking about nuclear weapons, which even enhances this to this extra level of red alert, because this is the person who the Republican Party has determined should get the nuclear codes and make the life and death decisions, not just over our country, but over the planet. Play this clip.
Get that war settled. It's a bad war. And Putin, has so little respect for Obama that he's starting to throw around the nuclear word today. You heard that, nuclear. He's starting to talk nuclear weapons today.
Wow. And again, if President Biden said something like that, especially in the context of talking about nuclear weapons, it would be on the front page of every newspaper, on the second page. It'd freaking be on the sports section of everything. Yet what we see time and time again right now is the headlines from the legacy media saying Donald Trump is taking a different tone. He's trying to professionalize his campaign. He is no longer saying that the 2020 election was rigged. And it's like, are you not watching this, or are you just so invested in authoritarianism that you just want to promote this bogus narrative? I want to talk about all of that, Cohen, and I want to show you some of these clips also of the Republican electorate now that we're in Super Tuesday. I want to show you some of the people who are out there for Trump. I want to show you some of the people who say that they will never be voting for Donald Trump. It's an interesting dynamic that we're seeing, and we've seen this in other states, but the clips are coming in fast and furious, and I want to share them with you and get your reaction. Let's take our last quick break of the show.
Ever tried to break a bad habit and felt like you're climbing Everest in flip-flops? Yeah, we've all been there too. But here's a breath of fresh air. Fume. It's not about giving up. It's about switching up. Fume takes your habit and simply makes it better, healthier, and a whole lot more enjoyable. Fume is an innovative, award-winning flavored air device that does just that. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses delicious flavors. So you get it, instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit easy. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while breaking your habit. The first time I tried Fume, it was way more flavorful than you thought. And you know what? It feels very fresh. The look and feel of Fume is very sleek. It's well weighted, perfectly balanced, and extremely fun to fidget with. Plus, Fume's just released a magnetic stand for your Fume, so there's no more losing it around the house. It's built with fidgeting in mind. You can spin your Fume around just on it. So start the year off right with the good habit by going to tryfume.com/beat. and getting the journey pack today. Fume is giving listeners of the show 10% off when they use my code BEAT to help make starting the good habit that much easier. So again, start the year off right with the good habit by going to tryfume. That's tryfum.com/beat, BEAT. And remember, 10% off when you use my code BEAT.
And now let's take a quick break to talk about our next partner, Roan. If you're like me, you understand the pains of finding out what to wear. Let's face it, most clothes are uncomfortable or too tight or never actually the size that you really are, and not to mention the annoyance of trying to put together a good outfit. And when you finally do have a good fit, you can only wear it for a few hours before you have an important meeting or dinner, and then you have to change. Everyone wants to dress their best and look good at all times because, frankly, it's a confidence booster. So here's the deal. Men's closets were due for a radical reinvention, and Roan stepped up to the challenge. Roan's commuter collection is the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of products known to man. And here's why. Roan helps you get ready for any occasion with the commuter collection, which offers the world's most comfortable pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, and polos. You never have to worry about what to wear when you have the Roan commuter collection. Roan's comfortable 4-way stretch fabric provides breathability and flexibility that leaves you free to enjoy what life throws your way, from your commute to work to your 18 holes of golf. It's time to feel confident without the hassle. With Roan's wrinkle release technology, wrinkles disappear as you stretch and wear the products. It's that easy. With the Gold Fusion anti-odor technology, you'll be smelling fresh and clean all day long. And on top of that, Roan is 100% machine washable, so you can ditch the dry cleaner altogether. I absolutely love Roan. This has truly become my go-to commuter fit. We're on the move a lot, whether it's jumping from meeting to meeting or catching a flight or an important dinner. The Roan commuter collection has never let me down. The versatility and overall comfort of the collection is undefeated. And even after I wear it all day, I still feel super fresh because of that Gold Fusion anti-odor technology. The commuter collection can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. So right now, head to Roan.com/Cohen, that's Cohen, and use promo code Cohen to save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you head to RHONE.com/Cohen, Cohen, and use code Cohen. It's time to find your corner office. And now, back to the video.
Thank you to our pro-democracy
Yes,
sponsors right
COHEN.
there.
Hey, can I just say something? Because a lot of our brigaders are like, how could you be doing ads for smoking? So, and that's the whole thing about fume. It's air. It's not a vape. It's not tobacco. It's air, and it's natural, like mint and cinnamon. I mean, it's not smoking. So I just want to be very clear about that.
No, it's actually when Jordy vetted them and we tried it. It's actually a way. That's why it's about breaking your bad habit, and that's what was actually intriguing about them. And to your point, it is air actually that you're just breathing in air. Anyway, you may be watching those Trump speeches, or as I like to call them, traveling fascist circus rallies, or whatever you want to call them, and say, who is that? Who is that appealing to? And I think what I'm about to show and share, what we're about to share, will be illuminating not just for our audience here in the United States, but also to our audience abroad. When you see the dynamic of the American electorate right now, because what I want to share with you are some video clips of people who are out there voting for Donald Trump. And then I want to share some video clips of people who are voting for Nikki Haley and what they are saying. And so in the first one I want to show you, it is a video in North Carolina where it says how men and women have told me that they wouldn't vote for Haley because she's a woman. And here you'll just hear from a Trump supporter who basically says that he'll only vote, well, I don't even want to say it. It's so gross. Here, play this clip.
What do you think of Nikki Haley? Did you ever consider her?
You know, what I got to say, you don't really want to put it on.
Let me hear it.
Well, a woman's not going to be a good president. She don't have no balls to scratch. She's just going to scratch her head. All a woman's good for in my book is having babies and taking care of the house. But that's the old thing, you know. But I'm old school.
So you never even considered her?
No.
Mainly because she's a woman?
Because she's female. So, I mean, females, don't take me wrong, females know what they're doing, but they still got to have a little bit of guidance. Trump would be the one to guide her through the
I mean, I am shocked to hear that he is not married. I mean, could you imagine this dipshit? It's truly amazing. He's like a fucking Neanderthal. I mean, unfortunately, that's who these folks are.
That's
and
the Republican Party.
Worse than that, at Donald's last rally, he brought up some woman to sing the national anthem, and she didn't even know the words.
And then Cohen, then he brought up someone to do the pledge, and he didn't know the words.
Yeah, I mean, this is too much. Yeah, I mean, you put. Wow.
We have the anthem. We have the anthem.
I'll tell you, I don't really.
We have the anthem video. I want to play the anthem video. Play.
Sure.
Apples we washed.
Yeah, they were falling from the tree because it's called gravity.
I caught a green apple, can't you see?
Who does she think she is? Snow White?
So then they went to another Trump voter. They went from North Carolina to a Trump voter in Allen, Texas. This was a Republican woman in Texas voting for Donald Trump. And she explains the reason that she wouldn't vote for a woman. Here, play this clip, Salt.
NBC just reported that Michelle Obama has said she will not run for president.
Thank God.
Okay.
Yes.
Ainsley said, I would love the reaction from a woman in the crowd. And
I would vote for a woman, and especially, Nikki Haley. I'm just going to say this. She's probably menopausal. We don't need that.
Okay. She said, how about we vote for people regardless of their gender, just the right person for the job for America?
Yeah, and that's kind of, thanks so much, Will. That's kind of interesting because everyone speculated that she was going to run except her. She has never indicated she was going to run.
No.
It's MAGA mush. The brains. It's MAGA mush. It's decades of assault on our education system, assault on the truth, propaganda networks feeding all of this disinfo. And I'm not trying to make any excuses, for her and these people, but it's like for the international audience watching this, that what you're seeing there represents like over 50 million Americans. 50 million people in our country are like that. Let me show you this one, Cohen, as well. This is somebody on CNN talking about the 2020 election being stolen. Here, play this clip.
I want Joe Biden out of the White House.
Do you think Donald Trump won the 2020 election, or do you think he lost it?
I think he won. We won. We lost due to trickery.
But you believe the 2020 election was stolen, just to be clear?
Yes. Big time.
Even after several years of evidence proving otherwise, you still don't believe that?
Well, nothing has been proven because everything is been a cover-up. So, yes, but I do believe that it was stolen.
I think President Biden's going to win this election. I really do. But let me say,
I'm waiting for this idiot to swallow that toothpick.
It really pains me. Like it's one of the reasons I've devoted my life to this network. Like when I see that, I just think I'm like, how is this my country? I go, how is this that there's such a level of ignorance and such a level of manipulation, and it's so obvious, it's so staring us in the face.
Armando's exactly who I refer to when I say he's a maggot moron with 4 teeth and 3 brain cells. He is just a fool. And my grandma used to have a great line: you can't debate stupid. And that's really what it is. So somebody like this fool, why even put him on television? Why promote stupidity like that? If some idiot decided to stick his finger into an electrical socket, would you then get the news to turn around and cover it so that other people could do the same thing? It's stupid. Stupid is stupid. And again, like my grandma used to say, you can't argue with stupid. You can't debate stupid.
I want to show you, though, because this is the Republican base right now, right? You have those kind of MAGA cult members who are so far out there, but there's tens of millions of people like this in our country. That's just the United States of America right now. How that's the case is that's the case. But then you have what I call kind of the mainstream conservative, right? People who are voting for Nikki Haley. They've spent their life in the Republican Party. They are actual free think. They're watching what is taking place. And look, I disagree with Nikki Haley vehemently on a lot of things. But I do understand if someone's been a Republican their entire life, and that's a major part of their identity, it's hard. I get it, to leave your place of identity and where you've gotten your full identity for decades and decades. But these are Nikki Haley voters who would basically be like a Jeb Bush voter, a George W. Bush voter, a Mitt Romney voter, a John McCain voter. And they say they'll never vote for Donald Trump. And let me show you first this Haley voter who says that I think Donald Trump is a threat to the well-being of our country. Play this clip.
Hi, Nikki Haley. 2 reasons. 1, I think she would do a very good job. And 2, I think Donald Trump is a threat to the well-being of our country. Why?
So you have that. And then let me show you this other Haley voter who talks about if Trump is the Republican nominee, what she would do. Here, let's play this clip if we've got it.
If she drops out, would you be disappointed if she endorsed Trump? I don't really think she will. I think she'll just keep.
If she does, I'll vote Democrat. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and I think that's it.
What these people are, these are the folks, these are the 40% of Republicans that you and I talked about on the last show. These are the 40% of Republicans that will not vote for Donald Trump because, like what we talk about each and every episode, is that he and the GOP are a threat to democracy. They see it. They see it, and they will not be a part of it. They will not.
Yeah, and I think, though, that it is important. And again, this is my own opinion, and this is where people may disagree with my opinion, that there needs to be outreach to those types of voters. That's my own view. And I hear time and time again people who share their stories, who watch the Midas Touch Network. I believe in building a coalition when it comes to saving our democracy. Y'all may disagree with me, and it's okay that we have differences of opinion. I see a difference between Nikki Haley and Donald Trump. There are so many things that Nikki Haley says that I so disagree with that make me beyond angry that I would never contemplate ever even voting for her. But I see a distinction there between these two people, between a cult and just a really kind of bad candidate who I disagree with. Here's the thing. We share all of these stories here on the Midas Touch Network of actual conservatives, not the MAGA mutation. Actual conservatives and independents who are part of our pro-democracy community right now. And I just say to all of you, I say this sincerely, we love our Constitution. We love our flag. We love the United States of America. We want to work to make our country a better place. We want this to be a place where normalcy prevails and where democracy prevails. Let me give you the last word.
So let me say a couple things here first. When it comes to the distinction between Nikki Haley and Donald Trump, Nikki Haley, like you, I don't agree with so much of what she stands for, but I will tell you she stands for democracy. She believes in the Constitution. She believes in the tripartite system of government, and she believes in America's greatness. That we can all agree on. How you choose to think that we are great and the things that I don't agree with, like you, but she does believe in democracy, the Constitution, and the United States of America. Donald Trump believes in Donald Trump. He believes that he is the second coming of Christ, that he and only he can do great things for the country, despite what we're seeing already with Biden. There's so many things that are wrong. That's one. Number two, who gets the two-finger salute today? Well, it's crystal clear. Armando has to get the two-finger salute for being the dumbest. Yes, Armando has to get it for being the. I'm so sorry. There's so many other. Armando is
wild. That's a wild card.
Yeah, he's getting the two-finger salute. That fucking idiot for two reasons. One, the comments that came out of his mouth are as stupid as the fact that you don't even take a fucking toothpick out of your mouth, which I cannot tell you. My father is an ENT doctor. Do you know how many people hurt themselves by swallowing toothpicks? You fucking idiot. All right. Learn to read. I don't care what language or where you come from. I tell you, he's definitively not born here in America, but whatever it is that he reads, read the newspaper. Facts matter. And the fact that he would be stupid enough to go on television and to talk about how Biden or the other idiot, like that woman sitting with her husband, or the other guy with, I don't even know what that was on the side. Was that a firearm? Was that a knife? Was that his cell phone? The three of them get the two-finger salute. Fuck you all for being stupid maggots. All right. That's number two. Number three. One of the things that I'm also going to ask, obviously, I'm back to these legal fees. I can't tell you how many hours I'm spending with counsel. I'm pretty sure, and I think that we still have the site for it. Salty, if you could drop that up there for the GoFundMe. I know that I have to change the page because, yes, we defeated Trump in the $500 million lawsuit that he brought against me. We wiped his ass clean with that one. But this one is going on, and I have now probably another 3 weeks of ongoing, constant review of the documents with counsel and so on. So if you're able to, please support the legal fund. 100 cents of that thing. I don't look at the money. I don't touch the money. It goes right to the lawyers in order to help me to get through this because it's just overwhelming. Lastly, Mea Culpa podcast. Do me a favor, check out if you want to laugh at something, and unfortunately, it's not as funny as sometimes we are here, but I have Renato Mariotti with me right now currently and he's fantastic, legal analyst, superstar lawyer. It gets raw and unfiltered, and we talk about in depth the extent of the legal troubles that Donald is going to be facing. Specifically, we talk about the one, obviously, that I'm going to be a witness in and some of the key issues that are there. So if you haven't already checked it out on the Midas Touch Network, who's now carrying my RSS feed, it is the Mea Culpa podcast with the blue background icon wherever you get your podcast. Listen wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe to it. Very, very important. One of the things that we really try to do here on the Midas Network, and that's why we ask you with Patreon, if you're able to do it, we're going to have a lot of fun. And next week, we intend on doing another live Patreon with you guys. Those are always a lot of fun. I'd like to do them all the time. Unfortunately, they're incredibly time consuming. And worse than that, I am really over my head with the amount of preparation that's going on for this upcoming trial. This is potentially the only case that Donald may actually see accountability on prior to the November 2024 election. And think about that, between me being involved in the New York Attorney General case that held him accountable for $454 million, and now the first case in history that will hold a former president or place a former president in criminal jeopardy. I mean, this is really a first of impression scenario. We talk about that as well on Mea Culpa, but we're going to talk about it on Patreon. So if you can certainly join us here on the Midas Touch Network to ensure that not just Mea Culpa, but Legal AF and Midas Brothers and so on. This is really the network that we get into it. Raw, unfiltered like Mea Culpa. We get into it because that's the only way that we're going to get the truth out. No more innuendo, nothing but facts.
Look, this isn't our network. This is your network. This is the network that you Brigaders and Midas Mighty built. And we're grateful to be a part of that network. We're grateful to be part of this community with you, where the legacy media has failed, or when you call them mainstream media or just media, they failed. So we've got to build this together. And that's what you're doing. We're grateful to be a part of that. Keep sharing this channel. Oh, if you want to sign up for our newsletter, you can check that out. MidasTouch.com/newsletter. It's free to sign up to MidasTouch.com/newsletter. Hit subscribe right now. We're on our way also to 3 million subscribers here on our YouTube channel. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I still can't believe you gave Armando the two.
It's not just Armando. It was the racist woman with her husband. That's why she didn't want that. Dumb bullshit. It's that she's menopausal. Bullshit. When they turn around, they said Michelle Obama. First thing going through that lady's mind is, a black woman? Nah, fuck that. I mean, because that's what MAGA's all about. It's all about this white privilege nonsense, and fuck them. So 2 finger salute to them again.
There you have it, folks. From Michael Cohen. I'm Ben Meiselas. Thank you all for watching. Hit subscribe. We'll see you next time on Political Beatdown, and we'll be here for the results coming in on Super Tuesday. Have a good one. Shout out to the Midas Mighty.